Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Tabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got one kind of show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Charles Tabansi. The handle CTABANZ. And also make sure you follow Dreamers Pro on Instagram as well. Same name, Dreamers Pro. And check out the Dreamers Pro podcast that we have pinned in the comment section below. Let me get into this topic here. Now, first of all, I want to quickly say that this particular show was not my idea. I was sitting here looking for topics to talk about. Then Mitch, who works with us, sends me a topic, and he's like, "Hey, check out this topic." I'm like, "Okay, well, and he's like, "It may be pretty interesting," so I check it out. Right now, what is he talking about? Well, he sends me an article, and I was directed to tech1.com, and it had the article with the headline saying, Deion Sanders says, Michael Jordan wanted that smoke, which NBA players today avoid. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, here we go. Now, why did I have that reaction? Well, just yesterday, I believe, we produced a show that was centered on the comments that Milwaukee Buck Giannis Antetokounmpo had to make. Now, what did Giannis say? Well, Giannis was talking to Chris Haynes of Yahoo Sports. And when they were talking, Chris Haynes asked Giannis Antetokounmpo to explain why he doesn't enjoy training with other NBA players during the offseason. And when they were talking, in typical Giannis fashion, he gave a candid response. He was like, first of all, listen, I don't want to fake it with you, right? The fact of the matter is, me and these guys are competing. We're going after the same thing. And I don't want to be competing with the guy or hanging out with the guy that I know I'm going to be competing with for the same goal. I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be soft. I don't want to be buttered up. He's like, I don't want to take you out on a date and all of these different things, right? But basically, Giannis was saying that he's not with this buddy system, right? So when he said that, we actually put up his clip on our YouTube community section where I said, oh, this is going to piss off the cupcake era, right? It's going to piss off the cupcake era. And to a certain extent, it did. Now, when we brought up this topic, some people automatically started to reach for Michael Jordan. And they started saying, well, Michael Jordan had that famous pickup game during the shooting of Space Jam when he invited some NBA players to have a pickup game with him. So they were like, you see, well, Michael Jordan did it, so I don't understand what the big issue is, blah, 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 blah. Well, apparently, Deion Sanders, who's one of the hottest topics in sports right now, sees it a totally different way. And I want to read a little bit of what this article had to say about this particular thing here. So let me read what the article has to say here. It says, Deion Sanders, the renowned University of Colorado football coach, known affectionately as Coach Prime, recently had a candid heart-to-heart with the Philadelphia 76ers. Sanders took this opportunity to discuss the changing landscape of competition in professional sports, especially the NBA. Drawing a direct contrast, Sanders highlighted the relentless competitive nature of basketball legend Michael Jordan. When we came up, MJ wanted that smoke, Sanders reminisced. Whoever was that dude, he was going to get it. That's the era I came up with. The comparison aimed to emphasize how today's athletes, according to Sanders, seem to lack that fire and aggression, focusing more on protecting their image and statistics than facing challenges head on. However, Sanders did express concern about certain players seemingly avoiding top matchups, possibly due to fear of fouling out or other reasons. He believes that modern athletes in some cases appear more protective, prioritizing their statistics and brand over the raw challenge of head-to-head competition. It's essentially to clarify, however, that Sanders was not pointing fingers at Joel Embiid. On the contrary, he expressed his anticipation for matchups that Embiid versus the Denver Nuggets Nikola Jokic. Sanders stated, a lot of folks duck that smoke. They want to be Tarzan on paper. If Embiid is playing the Joker, I want to see Embiid versus the Joker. All right, I want to see that. And he goes and gets it. I love that matchup, but I want to see it. For Sanders, the true essence of sports lies in these battles, where titans collide and make unforgettable moments. He advocates for the game to remain true to its roots and its fans, ensuring that the best face the best, fulfilling the promise of epic battles. Anything less to Sanders is like being Tarzan on paper, a mere shadow of what could be. And then the article goes on to say a few other things about that there. So you heard what Coach Prime had to say. Cupcakes are pretty pissed off right now at what Coach Prime had to say. But anyway, let me get back to the meat and potatoes of this video. Some people laugh when I say meat and potatoes. I don't know why, but let me get back to the crux of this, because yesterday when we produced that show, I noticed some comments in the background where some people were like, no, MJ don't be like that. MJ was twerking it up like the rest of us. MJ, no. When the fact of the matter, he wasn't. So luckily for me, I remember the day LeBron James decided to join the Miami Heat. Because after he made that decision, various people were weighing in on that topic, because LeBron formed that team to beat Kobe Bryant in the NBA Finals, because they knew they couldn't beat him, so they had to form a super team to go try to stop Kobe from winning championships. But Michael Jordan, I believe, was on some type of golf tour, and he was asked to weigh in on, number one, the decision that LeBron James made, but also the competitive balance within the NBA. So for those of you who may be unaware of what Michael Jordan had to say about this very same thing about competition and joining super teams and all of that, we want to quickly play what MJ had to say on the subject, and then we're going to continue on with the show. Take a listen to what Michael Jordan had to say there.
The tournament's almost over. Now you're hitting laser drives, pinpoint irons. You seem to have found your game.
Yeah, it took me a couple of days, but I was able to find a rhythm to play it. And as you can see, my putting's still suspect, but I've hit some good shots today.
All right, in a couple of days now, you put the pinstripe suit back on and become the owner again, go back to work. Are you glad that all of this free agency scramble and the LeBron decision in particular is behind you?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad, because now it starts to, you really see who's out there. Everybody was kind of waiting to see what happened with LeBron and Wade and Bosh. And, once these guys started to sign, then, it's other guys now you have to turn your focus to. And, I don't think the summer's over with yet. I think you got a lot of movement still left to be made. But, at least the big part is over and done with. And everybody's pretty sure those guys are going to go where they go. And, we got to look and see who's after them.
After so many titles in Chicago, Michael, do you ever step back now and just shake your head when you look at free agency?
In terms of the money that's being given, yeah. I mean, obviously, things have changed. The game's evolved quite a bit. Financially, I think the business changed a little bit. And, who doesn't sit here and think, what if? I'm pretty sure Bill Russell's sitting here, what if he played in the era that we played in? And, I'm no different than, what if I played in this era? I mean, financially, it'd be different. But I think from a competitive standpoint, I think it would be a lot different. I mean, not that, playing against Magic, Bird, Barkley, Ewing, all those years wasn't fun, I think. But I'm pretty sure those guys, along with myself, wish that, we could have played against, the Kobe Bryants of this era and Tim Duncans. And, obviously, we feel like we can compete.
Is the NBA better off for this big player shuffle we just saw this past week?
That's yet to be determined. I think, free agency is a part of every professional sport. And, how that's going to, play into this whole scenario, I don't really know. I think time will tell. It's no way that, just hindsight, I would have never, called up Larry, called up Magic and say, hey, let's get together and play on one team. I mean, things are different. I can't say that's a bad thing. I mean, that's the opportunity these kids have today. I mean, in all honesty, I was trying to beat those guys. I don't know if they would have been on my team. If we'd been on our team, obviously, when you look at the Dream Team, they were on our team, and it wasn't too much of a competitive thing. I'm a competitive guy, and I like to play against competitive players and, see what happens from there.
So you heard what Michael Jordan, the GOAT himself, had to say about that. There you could clearly hear MJ saying that in my time, I was trying to beat these people, not join teams with them. And MJ stayed true to that, and it was an absolute fact. The fact of the matter is Michael Jordan only played with one all-star, He had Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, who was not an all-star caliber player, but nevertheless, we're going to mark him up, and Horace Grant. Michael Jordan only played with 3 all-stars throughout the course of his NBA career. That's for the 15 years. That's as many all-stars. Jordan only jumped to play on, he never jumped to go anywhere. He retired and then played for another basketball team. MJ didn't believe in forming teams. He believed that you guys go form up with whatever you need to form up and you try to beat us. You guys get as strong as you're going to be, and I want you guys at your best, and I'm gonna whoop that tail. That was Jordan's predisposition. Jordan believed in let management do what they have to do, and I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to do what I have to do. Now, that may be an old school approach. A lot of guys may look at that today and say, well, the landscape has changed. And yes, it has, because now there's player empowerment. But now, as you can see, I think player empowerment has now reached the point where it's running amok. I think it's fair to say that. You need to look no further than some of the recent incidents with James Harden and Ben Simmons, just to list a few. Some people may throw in Kawhi to a certain extent with the the San Antonio Spurs, right? So player empowerment has absolutely run amok, and I think a lot of this has caused some of the players to lose sight of what they're really playing for. You heard this exhibited when Gilbert Arenas was on All the Chill, his show, and they were asking him, what would you rather have? I think the question was 200 million and 0 rings, or 50 million, or is it 300 million? I think it was 300 million and 0 rings versus 50 million and I think 5 championships or something to that extent. And he goes, give me the 50 million, the 100, 200 million, whatever it is, and you can keep the rings, right? And a lot of players were upset with that. Even a former NBA champion like Steven Jackson called him out and said, yo, bro, what are you talking about? That's why you're a loser, right? Because the goal is to win. Now, in my personal opinion, if you make $50 million in your life and you lose it, it means you were never supposed to have it. Because now you made the money, now you got to figure out a way to keep it. But anyway, I digress. But when I produced that show about Giannis yesterday, some jackasses in the background tried to make this thing about a cultural question. Well, Giannis doesn't really understand it because Giannis is not from America, which I thought was a cop-out and just unadulterated stupidity. Right. And some people are now, what I'm noticing, and I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Some people are trying to look for clever ways to show their bigotry. I'm noticing that they're following the Gilbert Arenas' school, right? The Gilbert Arenas of the world, which is something I don't subscribe to. If that's what you love, you can get the hell off this channel and go figure out the other place where you do. You could twerk it up with them. We don't condone that type of nonsense over here. But some people try to say that it was a Giannis thing, that he was an American. So this morning I did some quick research and I came up with an audio clip of Kobe Bryant, who was an American, talking about why he thought it made absolutely no sense to go train with NBA players in the offseason. So what we want to do, I want to quickly play that as about a 30-second or 20-second clip of Kobe Bryant discussing this, and then we're going to come back and close out the show. Take a listen to Kobe here.
A lot of players take vacations with other players that are close friends. And we'll just take vacations just to take vacations, or just hang out just to hang out. I never did that. When I retire, I didn't want to have to say, I wish I would have done more. I don't want that. I don't want that.
So you heard Kobe Bryant mention it there. What's your excuse now, folks? First you said it because Giannis was an American. Now you just heard it from Kobe. What's the next one? Well, Jordan felt this way, but Jordan, we got to talk about what Jordan did. What super team did Jordan form? Do you know what the jackasses in the background are going to say? Well, those Chicago Bulls were a super team. Really? Really, the Chicago Bulls were a super team. So we're just going to omit the fact that the Chicago Bulls had the greatest player to ever play basketball on their team, which kind of made them a super. It was MJ that made them super. When you have the greatest player to ever play your sport, your team is going to be pretty damn good. If you have some good pieces around you, you're going to be pretty damn good. Instead of saying he had a super team, just say Jordan was a supernova. He was so good that I can't give him his credit, so I have to circumvent giving him his credit and say, you know what? He wasn't really that good. It was that he had a super team. When you know in your heart, there was no other player that comes close to this guy in history, period. Past or present. in my personal view. The guy was on a league. He was in a league by himself. Everyone has said this except Nick Wright and Shannon. Those are the only people in culture that don't understand it. And I believe both of them are trolling. I believe both of them are grifting, especially Shannon Sharp, because Shannon Sharp knows better because he saw Jordan. Because I heard Shannon Sharp say Jordan was the closest thing to God. What happened? What happened in between? What happened? What happened? What did MJ do? So to have Deion Sanders basically calling these dude cupcakes, what's next? Deion Sanders played on a super, like, yo, cut it out. I personally love it because he's calling out the cupcakes in the room. Let's get back to the competitive balance. Let's get back to teams not liking each other. Let's get back to the competition. I like what Paul George said about players talking smack to him. We need a little bit more of that. Not saying guys should go out there and hurt each other, but what happened to the fervor? What happened to the fire? Why is everybody blowing kisses at each other? And yes, he's talking about the Draymond Greens of the world. Kobe was talking about the Draymond Greens of the world, who's running around chasing LeBron like he's his tail. Like he's his tail. God forbid, who the hell am I running after like that? If I'm not running after my kid or running after my wife, why the hell am I running after some dude following you all over the world wherever you go to? What the hell do I look like? A damn groupie? Nah. I'm not following you around. I'm not a follower like that. I'm a follower around my family. I'm not following your ass around. For what? For what? So to me, listen, I love his comments. I think these guys are jackasses that are trying to say otherwise. And here I just gave you an example of an American player, in the case of Kobe Bryant, calling it out. The fact of the matter is Giannis is an old school dude. He's a throwback. And a lot of the old school cats would agree with this line of thinking, in my personal view. Let's get back to the competition. Let's stop twerking. Please, somebody turn off the music. Disconnect the boombox. Please. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.